Well, some time ago, Michael K. Vaughan had done a video where he was showing his 100 most important books, and I enjoyed that video quite a bit. So I thought I would do something like that, and that was just going to take the rest of my life. So I'm trying to come up with a way of doing it in maybe two videos, possibly three. So I'm going to start out with my 1885 edition. This is the oldest book that I have of the poems and dramas of Lloyd Byron. And this is 800 pages of very tiny type and printed in 1885. And this book is still in good shape except for one of the covers has broken off. A lot of people quote Byron, so I bought this about 1986. And it has given me a means to look up the actual quotes and know what I'm talking about when I respond. Now, earlier this year, one of my relatives gave me a lot of books on World War II and World War I. I already had several. This one is The World's Great Religions. I've had this for years. This one came from my relative, and that's World War I. This one came from her. This one came from her, World War II. And these two. The one on the bottom is another version of this one. So, well, I also received this one from her, Collier's Photographic History of World War II. I have a lot more World War II books, but I just couldn't fit them out here. So I'm using my Winston Churchill, the Second World War 6-volume set as a way to hold my books up here. So I'm going to try to go in sort of chronological order. I have the Outline of History, Volume 1 and Volume 2, H.G. Wells, and I've read them several times over the last 30 years or so. And I don't think there's anything better on world history. Next, I have Ron Chernow, Washington a Life, Ron Chernow, Alexander Hamilton, David McCullough, John Adams, a copy of the Federalist Papers and a copy of the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution, Unger, Henry Clay, the Heidlers, Henry Clay, American Lion, Andrew Jackson by John Meacham. And here is where I visited, my wife and I visited the Abraham Lincoln Museum. Here's the program. And The Idiot's Legacy of Lincoln is an idiot book, but it is really well written by Oldham and McMath. I thought those ladies did a tremendous job, and I also have Lincoln's speeches. Grant by Ron Chernow, President McKinley by Mary, Theodore the Great, which of course is T.R., Teddy Roosevelt, by Ruddy. Now, I've read this book and it's fine, but T.R. wrote many books himself. They're all free online. I would really recommend everyone read those. I mean, they're absolutely fabulous, and he doesn't mince words. History of World War II, Armed Services Memorial Edition, Rise of the American Nation, which is the American history book that I had in high school, but this is a 1977 edition, 5 years newer. The Cherokees by Woodward. Now here we have Mainline by Senator George Malone, written in the 1950s, which is great. Destructive Generation by Collier and Horowitz. Free Trade Doesn't Work by Ian Fletcher. This book was very controversial. It's still, Amazon will print it on demand. When the Soviet Union fell, a bunch of European academics got together and literally detailed what happened during the Soviet years. This horrific book, really. Now I'm going to move on to my basic science books that I always reference. Cosmos by Carl Sagan, Exploring Your World, The Adventure of Geography, which is National Geographic, Campbell and Reese, Essential Biology, Basic Technical Mathematics. This is the book I had in college with calculus. Modern Technical Physics, another book that I had in college, and it is very good. When they finally decoded the human genome, one of my children gave me this book. I read it. I thought it was very good. Now we'll look at a little bit of classic academic, well, not science fiction, fiction. I've got Moby Dick here, The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes, which is short stories, The Virginian by Owen Wister, James Fenimore Cooper, The Pioneers, The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance, and a lot more by Dorothy M. Johnson, The Jungle by Upton Sinclair, Call of the Wild and White Fang, Jack London, The Complete Essays of Mark Twain, which I would recommend to everyone. And this is supposed to be all, or if not all, very close to all of Mark Twain's short stories. And I have read all of that. Now, as far as more classic fiction, major writers of short fiction, I came up with this book maybe 25, 30 years ago, and this is the teacher's edition. And it contains all kinds of extra stuff in here. Commentaries for every writer, multiple stories for every writer. There's 40 people represented in this book. And you'll recognize all their names. And there's a lot in here. Again, I haven't read this in probably 25 or 30 years. I retreated to science fiction. This is rough stuff. Bartleby the Scrivener, one of my favorite short stories. I'm kidding. But we have most of the big names in here. So that's what I've got on that today. I'm going to try to do this with my science fiction. I'm not sure it will fit. I might have to get out 2 tables. Thanks a lot.